Hi YouTube, we're here at the Right to Love an American Family premiere tonight, and we have a very special guest, Zach Wahls. Zach,
How you doing, YouTube?
thanks for coming to hang out with us.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure.
Awesome.
We just finished the first screening for students and Right to Love an American Family. And I was blown away. I thought the film was fantastic. You know, I thought one of the things that the film, like I said earlier, does really well is it really captures, you know, there are a lot of things about our families that are a little bit different. You know, the fact of the matter is that not all, you know, most kids don't grow up with two dads or two moms, you know. And there are some things about our families that are different. You know, I didn't have a dad to teach me how to shave or whatever. But that's really not what's important when it comes to the family. What's important really is the love and the commitment. And those are exactly the same.
Now, it's interesting for me to be having this conversation with you because you will be what my son will become in a few years. So I'm on the parent end of it, and you have gone through the kid end of it.
Yeah.
So is there any special advice that you would say give to my son?
Yeah, you know, I mean, to be honest, Ryan, you know, I think it's important that, you know, kids everywhere know that you don't have to do the activist thing. You know, I kind of fell into it on accident. You know, and part of why I'm doing this is so, you know, people like your son don't have to do this. You know, and you know, life is hard enough as it is growing up with answering questions about your family all the time. And so, you know, I think it's one of the things, you know, our families are both doing is trying to, you know, do this so other people can just get on with the business of living life. But if it, you know, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, you have to do, you know, what you find to be meaningful. You know, and if your son finds meaning in standing up and advocating for families like ours, power to him. That's what he should do.
Well, I know that your parents had to have an emotional reaction after seeing your speech.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first thing they said to you after this?
They didn't even say anything. They just started crying. My sister said two things. She said her first thought was, "Wow, that was awesome." And her second thought was, "Oh my God, I hope nobody expects me to do that." And luckily she's managed to keep, you know, she's a senior in high school now, so she's managed to keep just, you know, going to school and doing, you know, what she finds meaning in is art. You know, she loves drawing, and so she's drawing all the time, and she's getting, you know, to do her thing. And my mom's are still, you know, both in medicine out in Iowa, so yeah, things are still good.
Fantastic. Okay, and the burning question that I know everybody wants to know, are you still single?
I am still single. Yeah.
I had to ask. Somebody put me up to that, YouTube.
Yeah. Yep.
So great. Well, I know that when I saw that video for the first time, I was blown away because I knew it came from somebody who just having gay moms is one thing, but not being gay yourself and still standing up and making the speech you did, I was very proud of that moment. And I think a lot of us stood up and just did a little hoorah in that moment. So I want to say thank you from all of us who you stood up for too.
Yeah, well, so, my pleasure.
Even though it might have been accidental. And tell the story you told everybody real quick about the day before you gave the...
Yeah, so, you know, that hearing was on a Monday night, and the night before I was working on the testimony, because we only found out about the hearing like 4 days before it was supposed to happen, so I was and I was a full-time engineering student at that point, so it was kind of, I had to pull the testimony together in this kind of whirlwind fashion. And the night before the hearing, I was headed back from the journalism lab where I was a columnist back to my office in the IT department where I was working at the time, and I ran into an old buddy of mine who I had seen in probably like 6 months. And we were just kind of catching up, and, you know, he asked me what I was up to, and I said, "Oh, I was just working on this testimony for this hearing about gay marriage tomorrow night." And he's like, "Oh, wow, sounds like it's a big deal." And I was like, "Not really." You know, it's a state hearing. State hearings, you know, they don't change anything except for my life forever, I guess. You know, but I think the, you know, the point of that story is that, you know, sometimes we can have the most impact when we're not even thinking about it, or when you think that you're not going to have an impact. You know, whether that means simply, you know, coming out to your friends when you're in high school, or running an employee resource group, or, you know, even something as simple as like making sure somebody has a nice day. You know, if you're wearing like a rainbow, you know, colored bracelet or whatever. You know, it's those small acts of doing good in the world that can sometimes have the most difference.
Well, you've had a big difference for all of us, so We want to say thank you for that, and we want to ask what Zach Wahls is doing today, besides being here, of course.
Yeah, well, I just finished a book, My Two Moms. It's coming out in April. And currently, between now and then, I'm speaking at colleges and universities all across the country. I was in Michigan last week. I'm going to be in New Hampshire next week. And then I'm going to be basically on the road nonstop until April. So that's working on continuing to share my story and advocate for families like ours is really my biggest focus at the moment. Although I'm also working on a couple of other side projects, and you can find more information about those at zachwahls.com if you're interested. So.
And I'm sure a lot of people will be interested. And I want to say thank you to everybody who came to the auction and who bid on the CDs and on the gift bags, because that auction helped get Zach here tonight. So thank you everybody for your generosity.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for stopping by to say hi. Good night, YouTube.
Night, guys.